Jeremy Corbyn.
Thank you very much, Yvonne. I was only joking when I said to you I'd like to speak for an hour, because none of you would want that. I wanted to first of all thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you all for being here this evening and giving money to such good causes. Interpal has done a fantastic amount for a very long time and withstood an awful lot of totally unfair criticism, attacks on its existence, attacks on its identity, difficulties on its banking arrangements and everything else. And during one meeting we had with ministers about the problems they were having over banking because of the attacks by the banks on Interpal, the minister said there wasn't much he could do. And my reply was, well, if they can't get a bank account with anybody else, I think the Bank of England should become their bankers. And he said, well, it would be very difficult to do that, and so on and so on. And I then pointed out we put such a huge amount of money into all the banks in this country, the least we can do is lean on them to do something proper and behave in a proper way towards a wholly reputable, excellent charity like Interpal for all it's done. And I want to say a big thank you to Interpal for its existence and the work it's done over the years. And supporting the projects in Gaza is obviously extremely important. And I want to say a little bit more in a moment about the situation in Gaza as I saw it during my recent visit there. But before I do, I just wanted to say something about the atmosphere surrounding the issues of Palestine at the present time. The power of the Israeli lobby is truly phenomenal, in that President Obama had a very, very timid suggestion that there should be a freeze on settlements by Israel on the West Bank. Not an end to them, merely a freeze on them. Bear in mind that these are wholly illegal, what he's done anyway. Netanyahu said he wasn't prepared to do that. He was going to go ahead with continuing building settlements. And within a few weeks, the might of the United States foreign policy and President Obama collapsed in front of the AIPAC lobby and the Israeli lobby on the US administration. I think that is just an indication of exactly how powerful Israel is in its continued illegal occupation, continued illegality of the wall, continued imprisonment of large numbers of Palestinians, and continued construction of settlements all over the West Bank. Never mind the imprisonment of the people of Gaza. Now, only a year ago, just over a year ago, all of us that were in this country, indeed anywhere around the world, could watch live on television Operation Cast Lead. We could see those bombs being dropped. We could see the destruction going on of those buildings. We could see the mosques, the schools, the UN food depot, the roads, the factories, anything being bombed, apparently indiscriminately, by the Israeli forces. And after that, there were considerable efforts made to collect evidence about the illegality of Operation Cast Lead, the use of illegal weapons like white phosphorus, and the possibility that those that had ordered the bombing would be culpable as war criminals for the destruction of civilian targets during the conflict, clearly outlawed by the Geneva Conventions and indeed the Hague Convention as well. And subsequently, Goldstone Commission was set up, and Goldstone undertook a very thorough review. Goldstone himself has no particular political axe to grind in sense of sympathies for the Palestinian people. They haven't been noted in the past. And he produced a report which is devastating, absolutely devastating in its contents and its accuracy and its detail. And quite correctly, when Zippy Livni tried to visit this country, a number of very brave lawyers, maybe some of them in this room, got together and managed to obtain an arrest warrant for Zippy Livni, in the same way that General Pinochet was arrested when he came to this country, and indeed a number of Rwandan war criminals and others are liable to be arrested should they arrive in this country. I have no problem with that. Anyone that has prima facie evidence against them of committing crimes against humanity within the meaning of the UN Conventions on Torture or other conventions should face arrest in this country, we have taken universal jurisdiction on these issues for ourselves, they should apply. But apparently it's all very different when it comes to a former Israeli minister. So when Mrs. Livni had an arrest warrant obtained against her, she didn't appear in a position where she could be arrested, and there was all hell broke loose about how this is an attack on our allies and our friends, and how can we possibly arrest anyone with whom we're allies with. Well, think about that statement for a moment. If it's possible to obtain an arrest warrant against our so-called allies because there's prima facie evidence against them of crimes against humanity, isn't it time to start reassessing the words allies and friends and start looking again at what the situation actually is? And so the word then demands that the right of access to universal jurisdiction in British courts be removed, and that it be handed over, instead of being on the basis of a private citizen making that application, handed over to the Director of Public Prosecutions or the Attorney General. I got involved with a number of parliamentary colleagues, and very quickly, as soon as this issue came up, tabled a parliamentary motion demanding that the current system, where any of us can make an application to a judge for an arrest warrant against somebody against whom there is evidence of human rights abuses, can get an arrest warrant. And so far, I'm pleased to say, I've got 128 MPs to sign that particular statement. That is a very large number, and I'm very pleased with that. The statement last week by Jack Straw that there would be a change in the law but they were going to consult on it is very disappointing. I think it's a great mistake, but nothing can actually be achieved before the dissolution of this Parliament at the end of this month and the elections, which will probably be held in May. So it's down to the next Parliament that comes up. So I would invite all of you to contact anyone who's seeking election in your constituency. Say to them, what is going to be your position on Britain retreating from the principle of universal jurisdiction and human rights and handing it over to someone who could be influenced by the political process rather than an independent legal judgment of the evidence that's there against them, as there was, is and remains in the case of Zippy Livni. I don't want war criminals pitching up in this country and not facing the consequences of their actions. What happened in Gaza was illegal. The bombing of civilian targets, the use of white phosphorus, and many, many other things. And I want those people brought to justice, and I want to see those people in court.